Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for a game that's considered the best of its franchise. I don't know whether that's true or not. This is the only one I've ever really played, aside from one race from the fifth game in the series with a friend of mine back in high school. This game here is the PS2's Gran Turismo 4. Now, back when I was a teenager, or really a preteen, I got into Grand Theft Auto, and this was always at the store that I bought my Grand Theft Auto games from, that's been out of business for like 15 years, sitting right beside the GTA games. And I always looked at it, never realized this white contraption here was apparently a Ford GT, or a GT40, if you'd like to call it that, which I love. Very strange I never noticed that. Anyway, Gran Turismo 4 is a massive powerhouse of a game in a lot of ways, but I have to be honest with you, number one, I did not 100% complete this game because it's never going to happen. It's massive, I'll never be able to do it for what people paid back in the day, $60, or as I paid now, $10 when I bought this about 3 months ago. Played it over the course of a month and a half, kind of off and on, because I was moving with my wife into this house. I was kind of playing it off and on. I got about 40 hours dumped into it, still have barely hit the 25% mark of the game, according to what the menu shows me. I did not complete this. I never will be able to because of complaints, nitpicks, issues that I have, but also because of some things that I just got bored with, if I'm being honest with you. This is a weird game. This whole franchise is weird. If you go online, you really don't see many complaints about Gran Turismo 4 at all, whether it be on Reddit, YouTube video essays, forums from GT Online, anything like that, which I thought was weird to be my first ever Gran Turismo exposure. I've never played Forza Motorsport until about 2 days ago when I gave up on Gran Turismo and decided to pick that up and really delve into that. But Gran Turismo 4 is basically a simulation racing game, in case you don't know anything about it. It's not like an arcade-style game like you'd play at Little CC's Pizza or some shit, or Need for Speed as a franchise. It's more of the straight-up, dry, classy, pretentious, even snobby sometimes feel of a game that wants to be better than all of its competitors that never really had any competition to begin with, aside from some small games out there that eventually blew up into big games like Forza Motorsport, for example, that I just mentioned. Gran Turismo 4, again, is snobby, pretentious. That's how it comes across to me, but I can't sit here and lie to you when I tell you that despite it obviously being a simulator, more about the cars, the car collecting than the actual driving and racing, even though it is fashioned to feel supposedly like the real-life cars drive and feel and sound in real life. Despite all of that, there are no characters, there are no storylines, anything like that. It's really about you getting in, whether you have a steering wheel or a controller, to just enjoy a game that you can mess around with some cars. Not really customize them. You can't, like, change body kits and bumpers. You can change your wheel, maybe your spoiler, that's about it. You could change your oil if you give a shit about that, but aside from that, you really can't do much with the cars aside from tune them up on the innards that you can't see. You know, and that might mean some things to some people. To me, not so much. I really don't care. A lot of the stuff I didn't understand what I was doing. It took me a long time to get a good grasp on that. But let me tell you, this year there were cheat codes just figured out in the coding somewhere in the game by someone. They put it out online, and it helped me out a lot once I got to the 365-day calendar mark in the game, because that's when you're allowed to actually use them. And I did that, and it was a blast. A lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable by the end of the day, if I'm being honest with you. However, this game is not just your typical racing game. It's a very RPG-like game. You develop money and earn money very slowly. Very slowly. You could do championships and stuff over and over and over again in a very boring way. You could just do them over and over again, see the same things constantly, or you could do new races and just fail them over and over again and earn like $100 at a time. You could also do some driving missions, which are in here, where you could have to overtake somebody at a corner in like a 30-second trial and win like $1,000. So you have a lot of different ways you can cheese your way through trying to get more money, and now there's a $10 million cheat, just so you know that you can do that. Once you get to the certain point of the game, you're allowed to put it in. It was extremely frustrating to get into. Let me be honest with you, this will probably be one of the first ever, if not the only, negative review you ever see for this game online. But it's not ultimately negative. I look at this game the way I look at Lord of the Rings. I've read the first Hobbit book. I really enjoy it. Never going to read the J.R.R. Tolkien books more than likely. I own them, but I probably will just never get around to them. I've seen the Peter Jackson films, everything but the final Hobbit movie, and I'll tell you outright, I think they're boring. I think the Hobbit films are better than the Lord of the Rings movies, just because they're less boring. They have a little bit more kiddish, childish, stupid shit in them that keep me entertained. But the Lord of the Rings trilogy movies are not only kind of boring, they're beautiful. The masterful filmmaking, the passion put in front of the camera, behind the camera, the love of the source material, and the fans really brought those projects together and made them something really special, and I can appreciate that despite I thinking them fucking boring completely. Gran Turismo 4 is like that for me. I have a lot of complaints about the RPG elements because it's so fucking slow. It takes forever to earn money in the game, just like it does now with Gran Turismo 7, 8, whatever it's supposed to be now, the one that everybody's complaining about with microtransactions and stuff on PS5 or whatever. It's just as annoying as something like that, in my personal opinion, because you barely earn anything early on in the game. But I was able to get my favorite car, the Camaro, from the, I assume I got the 1996 version. My favorite is the 94, but it was so close, they look basically identical, and it was a blast once I souped that up. And that's really what the motivation of playing this game is, if you haven't played one before. If you haven't really tried any other one aside from GT4, I don't have anything to tell you, because this is my first one, like I said. It's beautiful. I respect the hell of it. I can see the passion put into it from the creators of the franchise. I've heard 1, 2, and 3 are a lot better than this, and I've heard 5, 6, and 7 in sport, or 8 in sport, whatever the different numbers are a lot easier than this one was. My biggest complaint that I have that I must talk about is the fact that you start this game, you can't just jump in and do races. You basically have to do a licensing test for a B license, I think it was, an A license, an International B, International A, and I think an S license. I think it was just those 5, if I'm thinking correctly. And International A got to the point towards the end of that test that I was just so angry and pissed off about how ridiculous it was, as well as some other tests and the other ones previous to that, that it locks out areas of the game that you can't get to unless you pass the licensing test. And they're timed too, they're timed trials, and it's really obnoxious in my personal opinion, to the point where sometimes I just quit and I was ready to break my controller in half. And I don't really do that very often with games, unless it's The Sims for PS2. That's a bullshit-ass game. The first one, completely bullshit-ass. Gran Turismo 4 has that kind of thing going for it. When I actually got to do races for the events or whatever, that was really fun. I had a blast with it. But then you have these other endurance events that you unlock later on that are some bullshit too. Really over fluffy, bloated bullshit, where you would basically have to play the game for 24 hours, or just leave your console on for 24 hours, or put it in this thing called B-Spec, where you just kind of control an AI driver, which I would not trust, but, you know, you can do that in this game. I would never leave my PS2 on for 24 hours. I think that's the most stupid idea you could possibly ever have. Some of the other races can be 4 hours, or 6 hours, or 8 hours, or even a 16-hour thing, I think is what I heard somewhere. All of that stuff bothers me tremendously, because it feels like bloat, like I said. Gaming is about the experience. If you like that part of the experience, it's definitely going to be something you'll enjoy. I recommend it to you for that. But if you're somebody like myself who thinks that's all just irritating and stupid and doesn't need to be there, well, guess what? Gran Turismo 4 probably won't appeal to you as much unless you're doing the smaller scale races, which is cool. I liked all of that. I had a good time, and when I got to the cars that I actually liked, and not a fucking Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, whatever I see every day of my life, when I got past of not having to see Corollas, but also realized I would never have the opportunity because these other car companies like Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche are not in this game, which are some of the biggest car companies of all time. They were not licensed out for this game. At some point I realized I was not going to have as much fun. But there are other cars in here and companies in here that are cool, like Pagani, Panini, whatever the fuck they're called, that make the Zonda, the thing that GTA 4's Lamborghini lookalike was kind of blended with. That was really cool and I enjoyed that. But there were other cars I liked too, other supercars, muscle cars and stuff, that once I could afford them because of cheat codes that I waited like a month and a half to be able to use, I had a blast. I had a really good time, and those cars, even down to the sound design for them, were better than the Hondas, Hyundais, fucking Toyotas, all of that shit that no one cares about, that you see every day of your life. It's boring. Everything else was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I do have a complaint too. The AI are so fucking boring. If you're driving beside the AI, they're going to stay on the same path no matter what race you're on. They're going to stay in that spot, and if you try to hit them, you might budge them like an inch or two. You might knock their back wheel off a little bit of their track, that they're just invisible track that they're following on. If they hit you, though, good lord, you're going to crash and burn, even though you won't get any damage on your car, because apparently Gran Turismo is known for having no damage. You can run into a wall at 200 miles an hour, and it's not going to do anything to your car. No scratches, no dents, nothing. Nothing at all. It's really unfair, and for a realistically focused game, a lot of people try to blame this on some kind of licensing contract thing, which I think is stupid, because Forza has damage. Forza has dents and scratches, all of that stuff. You can wreck, you can blow your car up, but in this game you can run out of gas. You can blow your tires out. You know, what the hell? It just seems like it's not entirely realistic like people try to make it out to be, or people try to defend at least, which I understand that probably would have taken up more storage data on the game disc, I get it, but it's still irritating. It's still annoying, and it still bothers me regardless. Another thing that bothers me too, the menu music is excellent. I think I've already mentioned this, but I've recorded this review so many times, maybe I haven't, I don't know in this review, but the menu music is really good. The score for it is fantastic. The sound effects for the menu are really good. They sound like a very PlayStation-style noise, something classical that I really enjoyed. But then you have the music, the licensed music. You have one good Van Halen song, Panama, and then you have fucking a Judas Priest song that was good, and then everything else, the other like 10 songs licensed for this game from people I don't even know, they sucked. They absolutely completely suck in a way that I would never ever want to listen to those songs again. I think there's a way to turn those individual songs off too, and if I ever find it out, I will do it if I ever play this game again or pick it up for just a couple more races or something, because of how annoying they were. They sucked. The music in this game, for the kind of budget it had, was insane to me. I couldn't believe how shitty it was. I'm not used to things like this. I'm used to things like Forza Horizon, you know? But anyway, Gran Turismo 4, that's pretty much everything I have to complain about it, and the things I have to praise about it. Again, to be a 2004/2005 game, it looks like a PS3 game, and this is early PS2 stuff. This game is incredible in a lot of ways, but it's shitty in a lot of other ways. It's kind of indefensible in a lot of other ways, too. And apparently those indefensible moments are very much Gran Turismo qualities that people consider good for whatever reason. I don't get it, but they do. Gran Turismo 4 is a good game, but not a great game. Not an amazing game, not a timeless game. Maybe it's the best of the whole series, I don't know, because this is my first one, as I said. But would I want to go out of my way to experience the other ones? Not really. I've already bought most of them, so I probably will anyway. But still, it's not incredible like I think a lot of people make it out to be. In my personal opinion, that's just a wannabe hater's opinion, I guess you could point it out as that. I don't fucking know. Anyway, Gran Turismo 4, if I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I would give this game about a 3 out of 5 stars. That's about all it gets out of me. The licensing tests are bullshit. The races are fun when you get good cars that you actually enjoy playing with. But most of the time, people are driving right by you with their middle finger up. Anyway, that's all I have to say today. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I hope you had a good Black Friday. Thank you for watching, guys. God bless you all, and Merry Christmas. Goodbye.